Good morning, little Maddie. Time to play. With friends and animals we'll learn today. From A to Z we'll explore with glee. Mornings with Maddie and some animals, please. La la la, it's a magical show. With creatures galore, let's watch them all grow. From A to Z we'll learn together. Mornings with Maddie, it's joy forever. Good morning, Maddie Baker. You know what time it is? It's time for another episode of Mornings with Maddie. And today's going to be a very special one, too, because today we're going to be talking about animals that start with the letter M. And because it's the letter M, we're going to have a very special guest join us to tell you all about the animals that start with the letter M. And that special guest is none other than Auntie M. Auntie M so full of glee, spreading love from sea to sea. Auntie M, a heart so kind, in her presence joy you find. She's your sunshine on a cloudy day. Auntie M, she lights the way. Welcome, Auntie M. Are you ready to tell Maddie all about animals that start with the letter M?
Why, yes, I am, Papa Tony, and I'm going to jump right into our first animal of the day, which is a mouse. The mouse is a small animal in the order Rodentia. Can you say the word Rodentia? With the most well-known species being the common house mouse. Maddie, I hear you had a mouse in your house recently, so you already know a little bit about them, don't you? These mammals all have small bodies, rounded ears, a pointed snout, a long tail, and a high breeding rate. While the field mouse is well known for invading homes for food and shelter, the house mouse is the most common mammal in the United States. The domesticated house mouse is called a fancy mouse and is one of the most popular rodent pets. Whether this animal is considered a pest or a pet, it depends on its lifestyle and treatment. Now, here are some incredible mouse facts. First, these animals are gymnastics and escape artists. They can leap and run very fast. They can escape by squeezing through the narrowest of holes or cracks. They have a big appetite. They can actually eat 15 to 20 times a day. That is a lot of eating, isn't it, Maddie? How many times a day do you eat? They can carry up to 200 human pathogens, including hantavirus and salmonella. So you should not touch them if you ever see them. They cannot be potty trained as pets, unfortunately. Pets like dogs and cats are easy to potty train, which is one reason why they're a common pet. A female mouse will be ready to give birth at 2 months of age and can have up to a dozen babies every 3 weeks, which is as many as 150 offspring in 1 year alone. That is a lot of mouse babies being born every year, isn't it, Maddie? Mice, which is plural for mouse, and other rodents invade an estimated 21 million homes in the United States each winter. They usually enter homes between October and February in search of food, water, and shelter. They store food near the nests, which food caches, being within 10 feet of them. Very territorial creatures, they tend to stay within 30 feet of their nests. Being naturally flexible, they can get into homes through a crack or a hole as small as 1/4 of an inch. They can climb 13 inches up smooth vertical walls, and they can jump as high as a foot, even while running. Also, they can run 12 feet per second and swim as far as 1/2 of a mile. These animals are nocturnal creatures, becoming active at night and constantly searching for new food sources. Being social creatures, they groom themselves with each other. They chase each other for fun or to show dominance during a fight. When happy, they wag their tails, their ears up mean and curiously, while ears down means defensive, especially when they have a stiff body language. They may stand up to get a closer look or sniff something. Wiggling their whiskers for tactile navigation makes up for their lack of eyesight. They grind their teeth or chew on wood and other material to keep their incisors sharpened. Finally, they enjoy creating nests to sleep in and are natural burrowers. That was some interesting mouse facts. I hope you enjoyed it, Maddie. Now let's talk about the mink. The mink is a semi-aquatic relative of the weasel. It is a proficient swimmer, a territorial neighbor, and a surprisingly tenacious predator. This animal may not look like much of a fighter, but the mink can take down prey that is almost as large as itself. Even large predators must be very careful on how they approach this rather bad-tempered animal. Because it spends a great deal of time in the water, the mink has a water-repellent coat laced with oil. Its fur is considered to be such high quality that the mink has remained a vital part of the fur trade for centuries. It is still raised in captivity all over the world. Now, here are some interesting facts about minks. In captivity, the American mink is bred in early spring. Captive minks can reach up to twice the size of wild ones due to better nutrition and selective breeding. They also have a wider range of fur colors, including pearl, blue, and sapphire. Much like the closely related ferret, some people keep the mink as a pet. But because of its wild instincts and very specific needs, it is an immense challenge to keep them around the home. The mink is an animal that looks very similar to the closely related weasel or marten. It has a long, lithe body, a pointed nose, round ears, short little legs, and webbed feet. The thick, water-repellent, oiled coat of fur is dark brown or black in color. Most members of the European species have white markings on their chin and lips, with an additional spot on their throat, stomach, chest, whereas only some members of American species have the same markings. If the species lacks the white markings entirely, it is almost certainly an American mink. The outer layer of the coat, which consists of guard hairs, is 3 times as dense as the fur of the closely related ferret. Each guard hair is surrounded by numerous smaller hairs as well. The American is generally the larger of the two species and weighs 1.5 to 3.5 pounds and can be 18 to 28 inches long, with half of that being its tail. The European, on the other hand, weighs 1 to 1.6 pounds and measures 12 to 15 inches long. Both species are significantly smaller than the otter, but about the same size as a ferret. Females tend to be smaller than males on average. I really enjoyed those videos of the minks. I could see someone wanting one as their pet. Let's look at another animal that starts with the letter M, and that is the meerkat. The meerkat is a small species of foraging mammal that is found inhabiting the harsh conditions of the open and arid semi-desert plains of southern Africa. Meerkats differ from the other mongoose species by being unusually social animals. Most mongoose are more solitary, while meerkats are one of only 3 other species known to live in groups larger than pairs. There are 3 different subspecies of meerkats that are found in a varying geographic locations, and although they are very similar in appearance, they differ slightly in their fur colorations and markings. In addition to the sericates, there are slender-tailed meerkats and gray meerkats. All, however, live in highly organized communities known as gangs or bands and rely on one another for survival in such hostile conditions. While the majority of the group is out foraging for food, others stand guard to keep a watchful eye out for approaching predators. The meerkat is a small-sized animal that has a long, slender body with a long and light but black-tipped tail that can almost double the animal's total length. Meerkats are sandy to light brown in color with 8 darker stripes on their back, markings on their sides, and a lighter face and underside. They have elongated muzzles with black noses, dark-colored bands around their eyes. Meerkats are animals with long, sharp claws on their front paws that curve and can grow up to 2 centimeters long that help them dig their burrows and find small animals that are buried beneath the soft sand. The fur of a meerkat has actually adapted remarkably to the differing desert conditions, not only helping to keep the animals cool during the boiling hot days, but also acting as a layer of insulation to keep them warm during the freezing cold nights. Unlike all but 3 other mongoose species, the meerkat is highly social that inhabits territories in the desert groups, usually containing between 10 to 30 individuals that consist of 3 or 4 family units of a male and a female pairing with their young. After emerging from their burrow to sunbathe in the early morning sun, the majority of the band goes off to forage for food, while others either babysit their young or act as guards. By standing upright on their hind legs and tails on the top of the mounds in the bushes, meerkat guards are able to have a good vantage point to watch out for any predators, particularly from the sky. One of a series of different alarm calls will be sounded to alert the rest of the group what the danger is, often causing the whole band to dive underground and burrow to hide. How cool is that, Maddie? These little guys work so well together, don't they? Well, we have one more animal to talk about today.
And now for something completely different.
And that is the manatee. Manatees are very large, gray sea animals who spend much of their time grazing on vegetation in shallow water. There are 3 different species of manatee that live in warm water in different areas of the world. Manatees are animals that can weigh as much as 1,300 pounds and maybe up to 13 feet long. Here's some quick facts about the manatee. Manatees are called sea cows because they are very large. They often move slowly and are often eaten by other sea animals. Manatees are animals that can eat as much as 10% to 15% of their body weight each day. Since manatees don't have gills, they sleep upside down very close to the surface of the water so that they'll be able to breathe while they sleep. Mother manatees may nurse their calves for up to 2 years. Manatee babies, called calves, are able to swim to the surface of the water as soon as they are born. Manatees are very large sea creatures, weighing between 880 pounds to 1,300 pounds, which is heavier than the weight of a grand piano. Most manatees are between 8 and 10 feet long, but some can even grow to 13 feet. In general, females are longer and heavier than their male counterparts. The largest known of these animals was 15 feet long and weighed 1,655 pounds. These animals are gray. However, they often have different organisms, like algae, growing on their skin, which can sometimes make them appear to look brown or green in color. Manatees have a very distinct face. Their upper lip is very flexible. They use this part of their body for both gathering food and communicating with other manatees. Their snouts are also rather short, contributing to their easily recognized faces. Adults do not have any canine teeth or incisors. Instead, they have cheek teeth and often fall out and are replaced with new teeth throughout their lives. There are usually no more than 6 teeth inside a manatee's mouth at any given time. Their eyes are relatively small compared to the rest of their head and are close together. To help them swim, manatees have a large, paddle-shaped tail. Unlike nearly all other mammals, that have 7 cervical vertebrae, these animals have 6 cervical vertebrae. That's hard to say, isn't it? This difference is believed to be from mutation in their somatic genes. Manatees also have a simple stomach, but are still able to digest tough plant matter in their large cecum, the pouch at the beginning of their large intestine. In general, a manatee is a solitary animal that prefers to live alone. The exceptions to this would be a mother with her babies or a male trying to find a mate. These animals spend about half of the day asleep. When they sleep, they stay submerged underwater and only come to the surface to breathe about every 20 minutes. When they're not sleeping, these animals graze for food in the shallow water. While they are known for being very slow swimmers, they can swim up to 15 miles per hour in short bursts when needed. Other times, they typically swim at a rate between 3 to 5 miles per hour. Wow! I never knew what a manatee was before today. That is amazing. Maddie, did you enjoy learning about the animals that start with the letter M with your Auntie M today? I sure had a good time. So goodbye for now, Maddie. I will see you again, and I'm sure on a future episode of Mornings with Maddie. Papa Tony, is there anything else you would like to say?
Well, I just want to thank you, Auntie M, for coming and sharing all this information about animals that start with the letter M. It was really interesting. Didn't you find it interesting, Maddie? You know, there's a couple more I want to mention, though. There's a couple of people whose names start with the letter M that I just want to mention. Maddie, do you know who I'm talking about? Maddie starts with the letter M. And you know who else's name starts with the letter M? Mimi.
Maddie, it's Mimi. Guess what Mimi starts with? Mimi, Maddie, they both start with M. That's the way we're going to end your episode today. Mimi loves you so much, baby girl. Bye.